Good morning. Welcome to this introduction section on intelligent automation with Appian. Thank you, Cedar. My name is Sathya. And today, I want to talk about how you take the journey in organizations towards automation. Now, you all know automation is a buzzword for the year, and nothing is going to stop that. Nothing is going to stop that. Won't it be great if you wake up in the morning and say, Alexa, run my business. And it runs your business, you're somewhere in a nice beach enjoying a pina colada. That day will happen, but today is not the day. Until that happens, we need to empower our business force to be more efficient in how they run their business. How many of you this morning updated their Facebook status? Nobody? Okay. How many of you tweeted this morning? Right. And how long did you spend learning Facebook or Twitter or any other social media? 0. But you come to the office and this is what you see. You have a screen, you have a sticky tape, and how many of you have this legacy screen where you can't even use a mouse and then you tab, F9, F7, and F8? This is the land we live in. And there is nothing wrong with this, but we can make this journey better. We can make this journey better by empowering your users to be more efficient, using your team to do what they are best in terms of using their smartness and using their knowledge. And this is the story I want to talk to you guys about. How does Appian allow you guys to organize your business end-to-end and introducing the technologies that is going to help you automate? And when you look into that circle of automation, it falls into 4 categories from our point of view. The first and foremost thing is getting your business right. And in order to get your business right, you need to start with a business process management. Organize your business the way it needs to be executed. It needs to be run. Once you have that one, you identify options for applications that can be automated. Think about taking the repetitive stuff out of the equation and letting something else do the job for you. This is where robotic technologies comes into action. So you no longer need somebody to copy and paste 20 times across 20 different screens. Let the robotics do the job for you. If you are accessing a legacy platform, let the robotics do the job for you, whereby your team is focused on a single unified screen. Then you introduce integration. Today, data is the capital. People collect it, create it, store it, and sell it. So you have a huge ton of terabytes of data. How can you make best use of it? There is no point in duplicating the data. We strongly believe in the concept of single source of truth. Leave the data where it is, but extends its use and functionality across the board in a seamless fashion. That's where integration comes into action. And the last point is, no matter how smart a person is, the human brain is not designed to crunch terabytes of data in a fraction of seconds. And this is where AI comes in, or machine learning comes in, where you allow the system to crunch and assist the human to make better decisions. Now, take note of the word assist. It's assisting you to take a better decision, not taking the decision on your behalf, at least not yet. We are not in the Cyberdyne life so far, okay? Now, putting these puzzles into action, let's see how Appian powers all of them in the organization. So starting with business process management. Appian has this low-code process modeling tool. Low-code allows you to bring both the business analysts who are not technically inclined or need not know technical coding like Java or .NET with the power of your Appian developers who know how to build your applications in a low-code drag-and-drop fashion. It allows organizations to bring the two teams together to make projects successful faster. It's low code, it's standard based, it's drag and drop, and you're able to utilize that almost instantaneously. But as somebody famous said, with great power comes great responsibility. So with all the data, you also need the ability to crunch it, to understand. The paradigm of BPM is design, execute, optimize, monitor, and optimize. So in order to optimize this entire process, you need analytical capabilities. Appian gives you the analytical capability inbuilt within the platform. So you are now able to understand how your business is running. By understanding the business, you are now able to make better decisions on where are the ideal candidates for you to optimize the process. Once you have the business process nailed down, then you introduce AI. AI allows you to take better decisions. We can't always guarantee it's going to be a correct decision, but it allows you to take better decisions. We have out-of-the-box connectors for the most popular AI technologies in the market. Google, Microsoft Azure, and Amazon AWS is considered as some of the top ones, but we can literally work with any of the AI technologies in the market. The native connectors allows you to leverage all the functionalities and feature of these products straight out of the box. Drag, drop, point, click, and you're ready to go. So you're not concerned about coding, you're not concerned about how to connect the dots together, you just use it out of the box. Finally, you bring robotics into play. So we have exclusive partnership with Blue Prism. Blue Prism are in this room as well, and they have a booth outside. This allows us to integrate Appian with robotics. It allows us to take information that is repetitive for a user and allow the system to process it on your behalf, freeing the human to do what they are best to do, making intelligent decisions. So you progress through the life cycle of using all these technologies together. By combining all of them together, you are now able to build applications that are 20 times faster. You heard this in Matt's keynote yesterday. We can build applications in lightning speed. We are talking about weeks, not months or years. And Appian is built to deliver solution in an agile fashion. One of the most important stuff I like about agile is its ability not to deliver, but to give you the ability to fail fast. How many of you have heard about fail fast? Okay, good. Fail fast allows you to take a step back in a matter of weeks, rather than waiting for 6 months to a year, having invested millions of dollars, and then realizing that was not the right path. So fail fast is extremely powerful. And once you fail fast, now you can take a step back and move towards the right direction. So the chances of success increases exponentially on your project. And think of a project that runs for 6 weeks, delivering success in 6 week cycle, and you just keep on adding that. And the other thing to add over here is, when you build your first application in Appian, every object that you create is 100% reusable across the board. Which means, for the second project, you probably have 50% of the object already ready to go. And for the third, maybe 80. So the more application you start building in Appian, your value goes up exponentially and your value goes down because the cost to build goes down. Adding the integration to this one, we have out-of-the-box integration. Obviously, you saw some of the connectors that we are shipping out with the product. But we can also talk to all the legacy platforms. You can talk to modern platforms like Workday or IBM or Oracle, and then connect all of them together in a single unified way. To recap, you can build an application from ground up in Appian, or you can have Appian overlay your existing systems, or you can extend the systems that you already have to add that functionality that the system does not provide. Common use cases, when you buy custom off-the-shelf product, you have functionality A to Y, but you want functionality Z that's not available. The cost of ripping that product and making the change is a lot more, especially considering maintenance and upgrades, when you can add that functionality using Appian. If you look into the common trends of how customers use Appian, it falls into three main categories. The first one is to drive the better customer journey. Customer journey is all about how do I service this customer end to end. I'm sure if you have been on other Appian World or Appian events, you would have heard about the word Aviva. Aviva is one of our customers for a long period of time. They changed from a product-centric approach to a customer-centric approach. And now, no matter who calls, you have a single unified journey for every customer. And they have, I think, 35 or 36 different customer journey with each customer product. The second one is improving your business operations internally. We use Appian to power Appian inside our organization. So we practice what we preach. And there are companies who use them for operational efficiency, identifying to improve their process inside their organizations. And the last but not the least is GRC. So we have our partner KPMG who have built the entire GDPR solution on top of Appian. We got customers who are building legal solutions, governance and risk and compliance solutions on top of Appian as well. It's nice to talk, but somebody says the proof is in the pudding. So what I want to do is I want to walk through a few examples to show you how organizations take baby steps in implementing all these technologies put together, powered by Appian. I'm going to talk about three use cases. The first use case is divided into two, which is how do I integrate chatbot? Chatbot are a great means of allowing communication between customer and end user, user and user within the organization, or any such combination. So we'll see two examples here. One is how can chatbots integrated with Appian power low value, high volume, internal organization issues. Then we'll go into another example where we can see how chatbots can power the process execution itself. How can I enable tasks to be assigned to people just by using chatbots? Then we will go into robotic process automation. So in this example, we'll see how Blue Prism allows us to take work out of the repetitive work and then do its magic, and how Appian brings the human into the loop. So the most important stuff is human and robotics needs to coexist. If they operate independently, you will have a lot of challenges because the data is not clear across the board. In this example, you will see how the two coexist together. And lastly, I'll show you an example of how easy it is to integrate machine learning algorithms within Appian without writing any code. Okay, so with that said, let's jump straight into the demo. So as usual, it's a live demo, so anything can go. What you're seeing is are a few examples that were created on top of Appian. So no customers, no customer data or anything like that. So they are all basic and simple. So here you have somebody who logs in the morning, some firm, it could be your organization. They come in, this is their dashboard. They see their jobs, tasks, times, everything else. Now, they have questions like, I want to know how many holidays do I have this year? Or I want to know what is GDPR? So traditionally, this becomes a change request. It goes into an IT organization or any such organization in the back office. They process it and send it back. So you have human to human, and it takes time. By integrating chatbot, a chatbot that's powered by your internal knowledge base or a knowledge base that it can access, like a Wikipedia or something like that, you take away the need for this internal ping pong and then allow the chatbots to do the job and automate it. So for example, if I say, what is GDPR? So we go into the knowledge base, identify what is GDPR, and respond back immediately. Okay? So I don't need to send a request to anybody to say, what is GDPR? I can say, what is my mat leave? and then it goes back, looks into my database, it knows who I am, and it pulls that information for me. Okay? So low value, high volume task taken care of by introducing chatbot. Now let's rev it up one bit. We go to another example, again it's a chatbot, but in this case we are integrating with what we call as Google Dialogflow. And in this case, I'm going to interact with Google Dialogflow and allow it to do a piece of work for me. I can do the traditional way, which is I can say move a patient. And then it goes back and says what is the patient's NHS number, and I can say 1, 2, 3. What's his first name? John. What's his last name? Snow. How many of you know John Snow? Good. He's coming back next year, right? And then the questions continue. As each and every question is responded, it goes back to Appian, and Appian says what is the next thing to do. And then the to and fro is fully controlled by you. We have a decisioning capability that powers the entire stuff in the backend. Once the sequence of questions is complete, you can literally say thank you, and then it initiates an action for somebody to complete. Chat is fine. How about we do it hands-free, right? For that, I'm going to invite my colleague, Dave. Dave, you got this ready?
Yeah, just press the mic. Say talk to Appian Hospital Manager.
Talk to hospital management.
Here's what I found.
Talk to Appian Hospital Management. Talk to Appian Hospital Management.
All right, getting the test version of Appian Hospital Manager.
Good day. What can I do for you, Sathya?
I want to move a patient from Ward A to Ward B.
What is the patient's NHS number?
1, 2, 3.
What is the patient's NHS number?
1, 2, 3.
What is the patient's NHS number?
It says 2 days. I'll just go text for this one. 1, 2, 3. It's probably my accent. And then the story continues. It's like, what's the patient's first name, last name, and so on and so forth. Now, there's no magic from the Appian's point of view on this example, because this is powered by the Google's Dialogflow that allows us to access it from any place you want. You can do it on Google by phone. They introduced Google Glasses a few years back. I liked it, but it was getting too hot if you wear it for too long. Or any such method. I can call my Google Home or any such stuff. Second one. So this allows us, thank you, Dave. This allows us to access processing power of Appian directly using voice or any other means. Okay, so that's done. Now, how do I go to the next step? The next step is where you introduce robotic process automation. Now, as I told you, we have partnership with Blue Prism, and here you see an example of how Appian can handle the Appian can humanize the robotics world. How can you introduce the human in the loop using Appian and Blue Prism? The story over here is like Blue Prism is already configured to process invoices. Now, if an exception happens in an invoice file, how does that get handled? Traditionally, it would go onto a queue, I believe, an exception queue, and somebody has to pick it up and identify who's the right person to resolve it. But here, using Appian's decisioning capability and using Appian's best practice and integration to Blue Prism, we are able to intercept that exception and automatically identify who is the right person to resolve this issue and assign that work directly. So let's see an example. I'm going to go into one of the customers' information, and instead of sending this invoice by email, in order to show you that I'm sending some invoice file, I'm going to actually upload it. So there you go, invoice file is ready to go. And when I click on upload, you should be able to see the invoice file in real time. So you see the invoice file over here, but if you notice, there is no purchase order. The purchase order is missing. So the system doesn't know how to handle it. And you need a human over here to handle this exception. So by default, Blue Prism is designed to throw this exception out. And what happens is when I send this one to processing, Blue Prism picks this one up. We are also using the Blue Prism's OCR capability to understand the data within the PDF document and convert it into an electronic format. And it identifies that there is something missing. I can't process this document. It sends that back to Appian. Appian picks this one up. And because I am the one responsible for this invoice, it knows how to connect the dots. I'll show that to you in a second. It has sent me a task to reconcile that particular invoice. So here you go. You got the invoice on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, you have the entire invoice connected and converted into an electronic format. And Appian is exactly highlighting what is missing. Now, once you're in the world of Appian, you can either type the purchase order number, or you can select the purchase order number from the list of purchase orders that are already available. So if I go ahead and select one of them, the exception goes away. The purchase order is automatically filled in, and all I need to do is complete the invoice for processing. You can take it into a multi-level authentication. So here, once the invoice has been sent, you need a second pair of eyes to approve that invoice and then put it back into the Blue Prism queue. So that's one option. The second option is to write it back directly into the financial transaction system. The option is totally up to you how you want to do that. The reason this is possible is that we have what I call as a bidirectional connector between Appian and Blue Prism. We have a connector that allows us to talk to Blue Prism and invoke any of the processes or objects. If you know Blue Prism, processes and objects are the core building blocks. And we have an extension for Blue Prism that allows Blue Prism to call any of the Appian service. And again, Appian has the capability to expose all its services as a RESTful service, and this connector allows access to it, albeit in a secured and scalable fashion. That's RPA. Now let's move into the, before I move in, let me show you how the triaging works. The reason it's able to connect the dots together is we have inbuilt within Appian a decisioning capability. Very simple graphical decisioning model, which tells you what conditions, if when met, and what action you need to take. So in this case, if you notice, we say that if the value is less than 5,000 pounds, then send it to a financial analyst. If it is 5,000 to a million, send it to a finance manager, more than that, financial director, and so on and so forth. If you want to add something, you simply come over here, click on add a new condition, and then you can keep on adding as many conditions as you want. Simple, intuitive way of decisioning your entire logic. So what Blue Prism does is calls this one, knows what to redirect, pushes it, Appian takes it on board, and then assigns the work to the right team. Everything you see here is available as a reference app from our Appian community. You're more than welcome to go ahead and download and play around with that. Now, what happens if this becomes, let's say, 100,000 combinations? Now, it's not impossible to maintain 100,000 combinations easily. And this is where you want to introduce AI. With machine learning, you can now crunch this amount of data and quickly understand and identify what to do next. And that's what we are going to do after this. I'm logging into the back end of Appian. Appian is 100% web-based, so everything you do is purely browser-based, so you don't need to install anything at all. Over here, I have a very simple example of triaging emails automatically to the right person or the right team. So here I have two steps. The first one is a connector. In this one, we are connecting to Microsoft Lewis. We have a very simple learning algorithm where it takes a natural language processing text, a text that is getting naturally language processed, NLP'd, and it identifies which department is likely to handle that request. So if I say I want to order food, it knows that it needs to go into a catering department. If I say my laptop is on fire, it goes into the IT department. So it allows you to triage. Very similar to the rule I showed you before. Once it has that, we have dynamic process invocation capability, where based on a condition, you can call any process you want within the Appian. So if it's a finance query, it goes to the finance process. IT query goes into the IT process. Let me show you how this rule works. Over here, if you notice, I'm connecting to Azure Lewis, and we have one algorithm deployed on that. It's a very simple learning algorithm which says if these texts are identified, this is most likely the department that will be handling that request. And if I can't identify it, there is a default department called as a miscellaneous department that will handle the request. Now I can go ahead and say my computer and when I click on test, it queries the AI, and it's immediately telling me that the likelihood of this person calling in is because he wants to talk to the IT department. There is an 88% chance that this is an IT query, and his sentiment is slightly negative, which is 1% negative. I can also ask Azure to return all the sentiments. So if I click on all the sentiments, it says there's a 0.8% chance he's asking for a conference room booking, 0.5% he's asking for catering request, 0.5 for holiday, and so on and so forth. So these are the various routing logic, and you are seeing the high probability is on IT. So based on that, you can decide if the task needs to be assigned to IT or any other department. Now I can go ahead and simply initiate this process using email. And if you notice, Appian has the capability to intercept emails. We can read the email's body. We can understand the email's text, object, send it to the natural language processing engine, and then we get the result back as which is the right department to handle it, and then push it from there on. So we already have robotics in place. Now, how about we introduce another moving part? What if I want to connect to Box to upload the documents that are pushed as part of the attachments? So I can simply go here to the connectivity service, put the integration object, and set it up to say upload to Box. That's one of the rules I already have. And in the data, I'm simply going to say upload the document that I get from my attachments over here. I'm done. I've saved the changes. Now I want to execute this one. So let's go ahead and execute it. I'm going to send an email. As I told you, Appian is monitoring emails. It has the capability to listen to email boxes. So this is one of the email boxes I'm going to send the email to. I'm going to say my laptop is broken. My laptop is on fire. And I can also attach an image of a laptop on fire. Right? If you have a Samsung Galaxy, you know what I'm talking about. Send that email out, and once it goes out, now Appian is going to pull that email box, intercept it, it's going to understand everything in that email content, take it out, and then it's going to send the body of that email to the AI. The AI reads that text, which is my laptop is on fire, and then it says who is the right person to handle it. And we are not using a manual decision table over here, we are using something that's driven by the machine learning. Once that is done, it's going to send the document to Box as an attachment. You can either store it in Appian or you can integrate with an external software. And then we are going to see the journey. So let's make sure it's come through. There you go, it's come through. You can see that. Email received, sent to AI, sent to box, and here I have the right process invoked. And here is the decision from the AI that says that this work belongs to the IT department. So it's automatically routed to the IT department. And if I go to the box, so this is my personal account on Box. Let me quickly log in. And I can see my laptop that is on fire. Okay? So we are seamlessly connecting multiple technologies in order to allow organizations to take baby steps towards intelligent automation. Going back to my presentation, we see today most of the organizations are on phase level 1 or level 2 of automation. Level 1 is where you put rules within your system. These are rules. This is not automation. This is not RPA. This is not robotics or AI. But you put standard rules on items that can be repeated on a regular basis. Like, for example, it's like manufacturing a car. Once you know how to do that car, you're always going to follow the same rules. So that is level 0. Then you have progressed to level 1. Level 1 is what I've been showing you, like introducing RPA, introducing natural language processing, or sentiment analysis, or visual recognition, all the AI capabilities to allow or empower your organization to move the workforce efficiency towards a better ratio. But what the real visionaries in this space are doing are level 2 and level 3. The ability to automatically discover what process needs to be automated. What is the ideal candidate for me to automate? Finding the missing link within your process and automating that. And level 3 takes you to suggesting the candidates for automation. So this is what the visionaries are moving towards. So you have a clear roadmap on how you can progress automation. You can decide which level you are within your organization, and you can identify what is the next step you want to move towards. My last slide is about what do you get out of this one. So intelligent automation is great, but what is the real benefit of it? And it falls into 5 categories from my point of view. So the first and foremost thing is efficiency. You allow your team to work more efficiently, end to end. You increase the quality of your service, the quality of your data, the quality of information that you hold and you process within your organization. Needless to say, these two lead to better customer satisfaction. Happy customer, happy business. Until I say, Alexa, run my business, right? You have better compliance standards. You have a clear design on how to follow compliance. And lastly, you have better use of the human capital. You identify which is an ideal place to use robotics, which is the ideal place to use the human intelligence in a very clear and concise fashion. I want to end this session on a slightly lighter note. Now, how many of you here are concerned that AI is going to take over your job? Okay, I am. Now, I presented for 40 minutes for you guys. You could be hearing the same pitch from Siri in a more sexy voice, or Alexa, I don't know, right? So this is happening in the future. Until then, how many of you can recognize what this is? Anybody? Anybody for a bar of chocolate? Okay, this one is the prediction by an AI just before the World Cup of who is going to most likely win 2018 World Cup football for the Americans. It predicted, and it was given a huge terabyte of data from all its learning in the past, and it said the finals is going to be Spain and Brazil, and Brazil is going to take the World Cup 2018. And we all know what happened, right? We all know what happened. So Croatia, which was scheduled to be knocked out on session 1, and so is France, were the winners and the runner-up. So my final message is, until the next World Cup, my job is safe. Thank you very much.